It was a night like any other. The city slept, unaware that history was about to be stolen. In the heart of the world-renowned Luxembourg Museum of Antiquities, a priceless artifact vanished into thin air. The thieves were precise, calculated, and invisible. They left no trace, no fingerprints, no witnesses, no clues. Just an empty display case and a mystery that would baffle investigators for decades. This is the story of the heist that vanished. What really happened that night? Who were the masterminds behind this audacious crime? And why, to this day, does the case remain unsolved? Stick around, because what you're about to hear will leave you questioning everything you think you know about crime. The Luxembourg Museum of Antiquities is no ordinary museum. It's a fortress of history, housing some of the world's most priceless treasures. Among them was the Golden Phoenix Amulet, a 15th century golden relic adorned with rare gemstones and said to hold mystical powers. Its value? Priceless. Its significance? Immeasurable. But on the night of March 12, 1997, it disappeared without a trace. The heist was executed with military precision. The thieves bypassed state-of-the-art security systems, disabled alarms, and evaded guards. They knew exactly what they were after, and exactly how to get it. But how? Who were they? And why did they target this particular artifact? To understand the mystery, we need to go back to the beginning, back to the night that changed everything. It was March 12th, 1997. Just after midnight. The museum was closed, its halls eerily silent. Security cameras captured the first sign of trouble, a flicker of movement near the Golden Phoenix Amulet exhibit. But by the time guards arrived, it was too late. The artifact was gone. The thieves left behind only a single clue, a single glove dropped in their haste. But even that led investigators nowhere. The glove was untraceable, no fingerprints, no DNA, no manufacturer's marks. It was as if the thieves were ghosts. As the investigation unfolded, one thing became clear. This was no ordinary heist. The thieves were professionals, experts in their craft. They knew the museum's layout, its security systems, and its weaknesses. But how? Was it an inside job? Or had they been planning this for years? The police were stumped. Every lead turned into a dead end. Every theory fell apart. And as the days turned into weeks, the case grew colder. But the questions remained. Who were these thieves? And where did they go? The investigation into the heist would become one of the most complex in history. But as we dive deeper into the case, you'll see why it remains unsolved to this day. Stick around, because the truth is stranger than fiction. The morning after the heist, the Luxembourg Museum of Antiquities was swarming with investigators. The theft of the Golden Phoenix Amulet wasn't just a crime, it was a national tragedy. The pressure was on to find the thieves and recover the artifact. But as the investigation began, one thing became clear. This was no ordinary case. The thieves had left behind only one clue, a single black leather glove. It was a tantalizing lead, but it quickly turned into a dead end. No fingerprints, no DNA, not even a manufacturer's label. It was as if the glove had been designed to be untraceable. But the glove wasn't the only mystery. The thieves had bypassed the museum's state-of-the-art security system with ease. How did they do it? And why did they leave behind the glove? Was it a mistake or a deliberate clue? As investigators pieced together the timeline of the heist, they realized just how meticulous the thieves had been. Every move was calculated, every detail planned. But even the most careful criminals make mistakes, and the investigators were determined to find them. Let's break down the timeline of the heist, minute by minute. At around 11:45 p.m., the museum's security system was armed. At 12 a.m., the guards began their nightly patrol. By 12:15 a.m., the thieves had already entered the building. At 12:20 a.m., the first alarm was triggered, but it was quickly disabled. The thieves knew exactly where the security controls were located. By 12:30 am, they had reached the Golden Phoenix Amulet as exhibit. Using a high-powered laser, they cut through the bulletproof glass in under 60 seconds. At 12:35 am, the artifact was gone. The thieves exited the museum through a service door, leaving behind the glove as their only trace. By the time the guards arrived at 12:40 am, the thieves had vanished into the night. The timeline was clear, but the questions remained. How did the thieves know the museum's layout so well? How did they disable the alarms without triggering a backup system? And most importantly, where did they go? The investigation faced one challenge after another. The museum's security footage was grainy and inconclusive. The glove left behind was untraceable. And despite interviewing every museum employee, no one had seen or heard anything suspicious. The thieves had left no trail, no fingerprints, no DNA, no witnesses. It was as if they had vanished into thin air. But investigators refused to give up. They began exploring every possible angle, no matter how unlikely. One theory was that the thieves had inside help, someone who knew the museum's layout, its security systems, and its weaknesses. But after weeks of interviews and background checks, no suspect emerged. Another theory was that the thieves were part of an international crime syndicate. The Golden Phoenix Amulet was a priceless artifact, coveted by collectors around the world. But without evidence, this theory was impossible to prove. As the days turned into weeks, the case grew colder. The leads dried up, the public's interest waned, but the investigators couldn't let it go. The Golden Phoenix Amulet was more than just a stolen artifact. It was a piece of history, and they were determined to bring it home. Despite the lack of evidence, investigators began to piece together three compelling theories about the heist. Each one was more intriguing than the last, and each one raised more questions than answers. The first theory was the inside job. Someone with access to the museum's security systems and layout had orchestrated the heist, but after months of investigation, no employee was linked to the crime. The second theory was the international syndicate. The Golden Phoenix Amulet mine was a high-value target, and professional thieves had the skills to pull off the heist. But without evidence, this theory remained just that, a theory. The third theory was the most intriguing of all, the private collector. Someone with unlimited resources and a passion for rare artifacts had commissioned the heist. But who? And why? As the investigation continued, one thing became clear. The truth was out there, but finding it would require a breakthrough, a clue that had been overlooked, a witness who had yet to come forward, or a mistake made by the thieves themselves. But as we'll see in the next part of this story, the investigation would hit one dead end after another. The thieves were always one step ahead, and the truth seemed further away than ever. As the investigation into the Golden Phoenix Amulet heist continued, one thing became painfully clear. Every lead was a dead end. The thieves had left no trace, no witnesses, and no room for error. It was as if they had vanished into thin air, along with the priceless artifact. The glove left behind at the scene was the only clue, but it led investigators nowhere. Forensic teams analyzed it for weeks, searching for fingerprints, DNA, or even a manufacturer's mark. But the glove was clean, too clean. It was as if it had been designed to be untraceable. The museum's security footage was equally frustrating. The thieves had avoided the cameras with precision, their faces obscured by masks and hoods. The few glimpses investigators had were too grainy to be useful. It was like chasing shadows. Even the museum staff, who knew the building inside and out, couldn't provide any useful information. Every employee was interviewed, every alibi checked, but no one had seen anything suspicious. No one had heard anything unusual. It was as if the thieves had been invisible. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, the case grew colder. The public's interest waned. The media moved on to other stories. But for the investigators, the Golden Phoenix Amulet heist was far from over. They knew the truth was out there, somewhere. They just had to find it. With no new leads to follow, investigators turned to theories. They began piecing together every possible scenario, no matter how unlikely. And as they did, 3 compelling possibilities emerged. The first theory was the inside job. Someone with access to the museum's security systems and layout had orchestrated the heist, perhaps a disgruntled employee or someone with a personal vendetta. But after months of investigation, no evidence pointed to an insider. Every employee was cleared, every alibi checked out. The theory was dead in the water. The second theory was the Bonn International Syndicate. The Bonn Golden Phoenix Amulet was a high-value target, and professional thieves had the skills to pull off the heist. Investigators looked into known art theft rings, but none matched the profile of the heist. The thieves were too careful, too precise. It was as if they were in a league of their own. The third theory was the most intriguing of all. The mere private collector. Someone with unlimited resources and a passion for rare artifacts had commissioned the heist. Perhaps a wealthy individual who wanted the Moe Golden Phoenix Amulet for their private collection. But without evidence, this theory was impossible to prove. As the investigation continued, one thing became clear. The truth was out there, but finding it would require a breakthrough, a clue that had been overlooked, a witness who had yet to come forward, or a mistake made by the thieves themselves. Months turned into years, and still, the case remained unsolved. The Golden Phoenix Amulet was gone, and the thieves were nowhere to be found. Investigators had hit a wall. Every lead had been exhausted. Every theory had been explored. But the truth remained elusive. To this day, the Golden Phoenix Amulet heist remains one of the most baffling crimes in history. The thieves were never caught, the artifact was never recovered. And the questions remain. Who were they? How did they do it? And where is the Golden Phoenix Amulet now? In the next part of this story, we'll explore why this case remains unsolved and what it tells us about the world of art theft. Stick around, because the mystery is far from over. Years have passed since the Golden Phoenix Amulet vanished from the Luxembourg Museum of Antiquities. The case remains unsolved, and the questions linger like shadows in the night. Who were the thieves? How did they pull off the perfect heist? And where is the amulet now? The investigation into the heist was one of the most extensive in history. Hundreds of leads were pursued. Thousands of hours were spent analyzing evidence. Yet the thieves were always one step ahead. They left no trail, no witnesses, and no room for error. It was as if they were ghosts. The glove left behind at the scene was the only clue, but it led investigators nowhere. The museum's security footage was too grainy to be useful. And despite interviewing every museum employee, no one had seen or heard anything suspicious. The case was a labyrinth with no exit. As the years passed, the case grew colder. The public's interest waned. The media moved on to other stories. But for the investigators, the Golden Phoenix Amulet heist was far from over. They knew the truth was out there, somewhere. They just had to find it. The heist of the Golden Phoenix Amulet wasn't just a crime, it was a wake-up call. Museums around the world scrambled to upgrade their security systems. Art theft became a global concern, with governments and law enforcement agencies working together to protect priceless artifacts. But despite these efforts, art theft remains a lucrative and elusive crime. The Golden Phoenix Amulet heist proved that even the most secure institutions are vulnerable. It also raised troubling questions about the black market for stolen artifacts. Who buys these priceless treasures, and why? Some believe the amulet is hidden in a private collection, admired only by its owner. Others think it's been melted down, its gold and gemstones sold on the black market. But the truth is, no one knows. The Golden Phoenix Amulet is gone, and its fate remains a mystery. Over the years, investigators have revisited the theories surrounding the heist. Was it an inside job? an international syndicate, or a private collector. Each theory has its merits, but none have been proven. Years after the Golden Phoenix Amulet vanished, a breakthrough finally came, not from a detective or a forensic team, but from an unlikely source, a retired museum security guard. I've carried this secret for years. I didn't think anyone would believe me, but now I can't stay silent any longer. The guard, who had worked at the Luxembourg Museum of Antiquities and for over 20 years, revealed a shocking truth. The heist wasn't the work of professional thieves or an international syndicate. It was an inside job, but not in the way anyone had imagined. The guard had been blackmailed into helping the thieves. They had threatened his family, leaving him no choice but to comply. He disabled the security system, unlocked the service door, and provided the thieves with the museum's layout. But he never expected them to leave behind the glove. A deliberate clue meant to frame him. The glove wasn't a mistake. It was a message. A message that the thieves were untouchable. And for years, it worked. The guard stayed silent, fearing for his life and his family's safety. But now, with the thieves long gone and his family safe, he was ready to tell the truth. Using the guard's information, investigators tracked down the thieves' hideout, a remote cabin deep in the woods. Inside, they found a hidden vault. And within that vault, they made a discovery that would shock the world. The Golden Phoenix Amulet was intact, untouched by time. It had been hidden away for years, waiting for the right moment to resurface. But the thieves were nowhere to be found. They had vanished, leaving behind only the amulet and a trail of unanswered questions. The amulet was returned to the Luxembourg Museum of Antiquities, where it remains to this day. But the story doesn't end there. The guard's confession led to a deeper investigation, one that uncovered a network of blackmail, corruption, and betrayal. The heist had been orchestrated by a wealthy art collector who had blackmailed the guard and hired professional thieves to steal the amulet. But when the thieves realized the collector planned to double-cross them, they vanished, taking the amulet with them as insurance. The collector was arrested, along with several accomplices. The guard, though complicit, was granted immunity for his cooperation. And the Golden Phoenix Amulet was finally home, its story a testament to the power of truth and justice. The heist of the Golden Phoenix Amulet remains one of the most daring crimes in history, but it's also a story of redemption. The guard's courage in coming forward led to the recovery of a priceless artifact and the downfall of a criminal mastermind. For the guard, it was a chance to make amends. For the museum, it was a chance to reclaim a piece of its history. And for the world, it was a reminder that even the most carefully planned crimes can be unraveled by the truth. The Golden Phoenix Amulet now sits in its rightful place, a symbol of resilience and justice. Its story is a reminder that no mystery is unsolvable, no crime is perfect, and no truth remains hidden forever. What did you think of the story of the Golden Phoenix Amulet? Did the ending surprise you? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the subscribe button for more mysteries and crime stories. Until next time, see you in the next video.